with us fellow teacher and friend, Laura Womack.
Hi.
She's been a teacher for nearly 30 years and my co-teacher. My ride or die at my new school for this past year. And I'm so happy you're here. And today she's going to share this really incredible story. One I haven't really had on the show before. So I'm just really glad that you're here. And I'm so glad to have been working with you. You're truly a gem.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having me. And you've been such a blessing to me this year as well.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me here today.
So tell us about your story. Like, where does it start?
2005, I was 34 years old, and I had just had my second baby, my son.
Yeah. And so what was going on? Where's the complication with like the birth itself?
No, actually, his birth was very easy compared to my older daughter.
Yeah.
But no, I suffered from postpartum depression. Came on kind of quickly and without my even realizing what was going on.
Yeah. So what made it different?
Well, my experience with my second baby was very different than with my first. There's 4 years difference in their age. And when my daughter, I have a daughter and a son. And when my daughter was born, my mother was very active. And as a matter of fact, I went from the hospital to her house because my husband was working shift work and was working nights. So they brought me to their house, my parents, and she was very active in helping me. She and I were very close. And helping me with my new baby, first baby, and changing diapers and helping me with feedings and
getting sleep.
all the things, all the things. And then she and my daughter had a very close relationship. They were just really tight. And it was just such the sweetest thing to watch. With my second baby, my mother had become ill and she was pretty much bedridden. And so she still loved on my son, but it was in a very different way. It was basically we would bring him to her, lay him in the bed with her, and then they would play that way. She was not for, a brief period of time because it would wear her out.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to go from having her be so active to just not being able to be, and it's not even, the help was greatly appreciated, don't get me wrong, but just her not being able to be active in his life the way she was in my daughter's life. And then shortly after the birth of my son, my husband lost his job. We had planned for me I'd always wanted to be a stay-home mom. And that was never fully in the cards. But we had planned for me to be off for a year after he was born. My husband lost his job. They had layoffs at his company. And less than 6 weeks after he was born, I had to go back to work.
Terrible.
It was devastating to me. And I really think that's when the combination of the illness with my mom and then the loss of his job just mixed with the normal hormonal shifts that happen.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm sure for like the whole year, like of you being pregnant, you were looking forward to that and planning for that.
Yes.
And that's just a big earth-shattering thing to have changed.
Yes.
Yes, it's stressful that he has to like find new income, but it's also like you had this dream in your head that I get to stay home with my baby.
Right.
My last baby.
We knew he was going to be my last baby. That was always in the plans.
And that's just a hard thing. Yeah. And then like, I guess, and I say this because I didn't really fully understand or appreciate maternity leave, until I had my own child. Because I would hear about, 6 weeks off and you go back to work. And at the time before I had my child, that felt like a decent amount of time.
Right.
No,
it's really not.
It's really not. Especially that's a big, huge traumatic thing to your own body for one. And then just to like your whole life thing to happen for you to go back to work in basically a month and a half and that like everything's fine.
Right.
No. And that's just normal, quote unquote things.
Yes.
But to have that have happened to you, that's totally devastating.
Did not get the full 6 weeks. Very thankful. I actually went back to Claiborne Christian, which is where, we're at now. And I was thankful that a position was there. I'd called to be put on the sub list.
Yeah.
And the principal at the time, Liz Rigdon, she said, well, I've had a pre-K teacher quit. Do you want her job? It was the day I called.
Oh, wow.
So I was very thankful that immediately I had a source of income. But to not be able to have that time with my son, it was it was devastating.
And then too, I think it'd probably be hard to work with other small children.
Yes.
When you want to be with your small children.
Right.
Or your one baby.
My baby, yes.
It'd be kind of hard,
Yes.
just emotionally.
Right.
That's a lot for sure.
Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah. Well, what kind of things were you dealing or thinking about during that time? Like, how did you know that, this is not, because we all get sad or like have a day where you feel depressed, but feeling depressed 1 or 2 times a day is not the same as like, this is chronic depression or postpartum depression. Like, how did you know like this is becoming a thing and you were struggling? I
could not get happy. And I felt very lonely more than anything else. I just remember feeling lonely, and me being a fixer.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to reach out. I didn't reach out. And that was a huge part of the problem. But I just found myself not getting happy. I can remember looking at my son, and I remember one vivid, and I hope I don't get emotional here, looking at him and saying, I was happy before you were born. I didn't say it out loud, but I thought, I was happy before you were born. Now, I never wanted to hurt my child, thankfully.
Yes.
But I can almost understand how you could get to that point because you're not in a right state of mind. But I do remember, and of course, immediately it's like, I'm so sorry I ever thought that. You're one of the most precious things that's ever happened to me. So then I felt guilt on top of the other. But I just lonely. And my husband, I mean, he was never ugly to me. As a matter of fact, I asked him the other day what his thoughts were. He said, I don't really remember. I was like, so I guess it did impact him a whole lot.
Well, it's been some time now.
It has. Okay. Yes. My son is 19
now, so it's been a minute. And, and
it has. And not to discredit him, he was always there for me. I mean, he just, you could see the look on his face sometimes of like, I want you to be happy, but I don't know what to do. And he's always been the type to, I mean, he spoils me and my children, my children in particular, probably too much. They don't have to do a whole lot sometimes. And I think we probably ought to make them do some more stuff. But anyway.
Sorry, guys. Not sorry.
Yeah, exactly. But I just remember feeling lonely. And like I say, I've never been the type to reach out for help like I should. Yeah. Because I don't want to A, inconvenience people. Yeah. And B, it's a little bit of a pride issue. Yeah. And I just want to deal with it myself. And that's not always the answer.
And to use your words, how long did you quote unquote deal with it?
Yeah, about 2 years.
Yeah, that's a long time to wait in that,
Too long. Yeah. But I was able to kind of hide it to where a lot of people I don't think even realized. And so I went about my daily business and did my job. And, I was, again, thankful to have it, but it was not always some of the people I worked with were not the most positive people. Yeah. As opposed to now. So, and so I just went through the motions and put on a happy face. And
yeah. Were you still, I know you've been a churchgoer your whole life. Did that affect like your church attendance, or are you still just pasted it on for that too?
No, we stayed active in church, especially having 2 little ones. Yeah. And my daughter was 4. Yeah. And so she was getting to an age to where she was really getting active and, and so we kept, for me, it was more going through the motions than anything. But I knew I had to do that. I needed to set a positive example for my children and try to be a, good wife to my husband who's trying to lead us. Yeah. So I kept going to church, but it was really going through the motions. Worship, I would sing the songs, but it was just like singing to the radio. Participate in the Bible studies. We, have small group Bible studies, and we, went and participated, but again, more going through the motions than anything.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like that with life, with any, if it's not this, it's something else. Right. So for you though, when was there a time of change? Like when did things start to like move forward for you?
I knew that of course, having 2 small children, I had to do something because I couldn't continue to leave them in this way. Eventually things would come to the surface. And of course, my husband, he needed better than what I was giving, he's such he dedicated to our marriage. And, but I had decided to do a small group Bible study, just a small group of ladies that we were all kind of in the same place in life, maybe 5 or 6 ladies that we just decided to meet. I think it was not part of our regular small group Bible study. It was on
so there's like
additional. Yes. Okay. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to participate in this. Now, I don't remember the name of the Bible study. I don't remember the name of the lady that wrote the Bible study. I don't remember what we were studying, the topic or anything. But God put me in that for a purpose. He was getting ready to say, okay, enough is enough. It's time for you to reach out to me. Yeah. So one night doing the, homework that's involved in a Bible study sometimes, again, don't remember what I was studying. God pierced my heart. And he literally brought me to my knees. He said, I'm here. And again, try not to get emotional. But at that time, I finally realized he's right here. I just need to reach out. And he was there. God was there waiting for me.
Great how he does that. Like, you weren't necessarily like running to him.
Right.
Just saying, I need your help. But he sought you out.
Yes, he did.
I've experienced that more than once in my life where it's like, and where I'm living, doing whatever I'm trying to do. And it's where God's reaching down to me and pursuing me. And every time it happens, I always feel so loved.
Yes.
Like, wow, like he would do that.
He would. He doesn't give up on us.
And he finds the way that we need it to reach us.
Right.
Like, did you initiate finding that group or putting that group together?
I did not have anything to do with putting it together. And I don't even remember how I became involved with it. I think it's just, there was a group of ladies in our church, like I say, and most of us had children around my daughter's age.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, we were doing life together anyway. And I thought, hey, let's do a Bible study. Okay, great. I remember not long after that and just totally giving everything over to God and saying, okay, there's got to be change and I can't do it.
Yeah.
And God saying, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for you. But not long after that, I remember just everything changed. And, not that it was just instantaneously, but slowly and surely things began to improve. And I remember one Sunday being in church and worshiping and just really, truly worshiping for the first time in a long time. And not that you have to raise hands to worship, but I felt led to raise my hands and worship that day.
Yeah.
And I remember it was not the music minister we have at the time, but one that was there then. And she said, there's something different about you. And I thought, yeah. I let God heal my heart. I quit holding on to things that I should have never held on to begin with. And that's when it changed. And like I say, that was probably close to 2 years after the birth of my son.
Wow.
Too long.
Yeah. Oh, man. But just knowing that he was always there. The Bible study, like, you didn't initiate it. And just a moment on this, like, I just think it's neat that the Lord probably put it on somebody else's heart to start it.
Yes.
And maybe you were the whole purpose in that.
That's humbling.
Or not, maybe, kind of like Rahab. I know you and I have been teaching Rahab to our students lately, but like, I felt like for Rahab's story, like God sent the spies to Jericho for Rahab.
For Rahab, yes.
Because, he already promised them the city, what was their purpose in going to scout out the city. They already knew they were going to win.
Right.
Which Rahab did too.
Yeah.
And it's like he sent them there for her.
What an awesome perspective.
I don't know. So I just can't help, because I think for just that story, that's really cool. But I hear in this, and I'm hearing that same type of thing for you. And maybe there was another person in the Bible study who had a different experience. It wasn't like yours.
Right.
All to say, if God puts something in your heart, follow through. Because it's actually, I feel like most times it's not for you personally, it's for somebody else out there.
Yes.
Like you are doing the hands and feet of God.
Yes.
So when he's telling you a directive, you got to do it.
Right.
You got to do
Agreed.
it. What did you learn about God's character? Anything specific?
For sure that he is patient. Because, like I say, 2 years and he never gave up on me. He is loving. He's waiting there in the, just, I'm here for you. He's right there. And he brings healing if we seek it. Now, healing comes in a variety of ways.
Yeah. This
is by no way saying if someone is dealing with depression or any kind of mental illness that you should seek only God. God, I believe, gives doctors and medical professionals the gift to be able to help people in that situation. And I probably should have sought professional help at some point in time. But like I said, pride got in my way. But he does bring healing. And for me, it was just through time with him.
Yeah, now they ask that stuff like way more often. 20 years ago, I don't know how much they asked that. But I just know for me, like I'm going in for my first appointment, and that's the first thing they're asking about how do I feel, and
Yeah, I don't remember
and see, I don't
if that
know
was
if that
asked.
was
I
even
don't remember.
asked. I think people are more aware of that now, thankfully. Yeah, because it does happen a lot. It has happened a lot. And
Well, I know even the last time I took my son for a well visit, it's basically an athletic checkup. You got to sign off that you're healthy enough. They even asked him these mental health questions. And, I asked him, do you need me to leave the room so you can, you know? So I think that's good.
I do think it's good, because I think it's good to recognize that, hey, like that these negative thoughts, we should alter them.
Right.
And they can't have power over this, but they shouldn't.
Well, and as Christians, I think sometimes we're made to believe, and I think this has gotten better, that Christians don't suffer like that.
Yeah.
But that's not true.
That's not true.
I mean, in the Bible, there were multiple people who
I feel like Job kind of was feeling that way. He had some not great friends that did not help with that.
Right.
Which is also scriptural about how we're supposed to guard our hearts, because it's from the wellspring of life, which means those friends. You don't want to bring in negativity that doesn't have to be there.
Right.
But there is always a way through.
Yes.
Yeah. And Jesus can be a really great healing point for that.
Yes. So, and should be the first that we go to, in my opinion.
Mine too. Yeah. So how has this impact, because now it's been 19 years, from that point, how has that impacted your relationship with him moving forward?
Right. Well, it's definitely strengthened my relationship with Christ. And I'm still, as we all are, a work in progress. And I still sometimes tend to try to want to be a fixer myself. But I'm a lot, it doesn't take me as long now to reach out to him. I can see a lot quicker that, okay, I've got to have God's help on this. I can't do this alone. So definitely strengthen that relationship and cause me to seek him for guidance a lot more. I'm not perfect, so I can't sit here and say that there haven't been other times when I tried to lead myself. But like I say, I'm a lot quicker to turn to him now. Yeah.
Well, if there was someone else today that's listening to this and you're like, I think I might be dealing with postpartum as well, what would you say to them? What advice would you give to them?
I would say don't wait. Don't wait. Reach out for help. Obviously, you want to go to God. You want to reach out to him, but then find godly people in your life, godly counseling, godly friends that you can trust and you can confide in. Those people were there for me. I just didn't reach out to them because I wanted to, we all want to portray like we got it all together.
I got it. It's not that bad. But if it's been that long, it can't hurt. And why do you want to suffer? Why do you want to suffer?
Right. And God puts people in our path for that. We hopefully can develop a community of friends and loved ones who are willing to help us. And so that's my biggest advice is don't wait. Go to God and then let him lead you to whoever else can help you.
And just to give a little, no one's given me anything for this, but First West Counseling is it's good Christian counseling. I think Beautiful Minds is what our school's connected with. And there's also Strategic Solutions. It's another Christian base. The founders of that one are Christian. So there are some in this area that are there. Right. So if you need that or for anything, I'm a big proponent. If you listen to my show at all, I'll talk about this from time to time. I'm always pro counselor. They can't hurt you.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially
not.
Christian counseling.
Christian counseling
Cannot hurt you.
Agreed. Agreed.
Well, I'm so glad you came out to my show, Laura, to share your story.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
And I'm sure that someone has been encouraged today from you just sharing your story. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And my name is Laura Womack, and this is my story of the middle. Psalm 40 verse 2 says, "He brought me up from a desolate pit, out of the muddy clay, and set my feet on the rock, making my steps secure."